The waitress's voice cut through the elegant dining room like a knife. "I'm going to ask you one last time. Move to the back section or I will call security." Her words dripped with condescension and barely contained disgust. Maya, the black woman, seated calmly at the prime window table, looked up at her with steady eyes. "I've already told you, I'm not moving," she said simply, her tone even and composed but carrying an undeniable strength. She was being humiliated in front of the entire restaurant, but no one expected what would happen next when the woman they thought didn't belong stood up and revealed who she really was. As we delve into this story, if you believe everyone deserves to be treated with dignity regardless of their appearance, click the subscribe button now and tell us where you're watching from. The Golden Terrace restaurant gleamed under the warm evening lights, its floor-to-ceiling windows offering a breathtaking view of the city skyline. Crystal chandeliers cast a soft glow over white tablecloths and polished silverware. This was where the city's elite came to see and be seen, where reservation lists stretched months ahead and a single meal could cost more than most people's weekly salary. Maya Thompson stepped through the mahogany doors of the Golden Terrace, her understated elegance drawing subtle glances. At 35, she carried herself with quiet confidence, dressed in a tailored charcoal dress and minimal jewelry. Her movements were measured, purposeful, though she made no effort to announce her presence. She preferred it that way for now. Behind the hostess stand, Jessica Martinez surveyed her domain with sharp eyes. At 28, Jessica prided herself on maintaining the restaurant's standards, though her definition of standards often had more to do with appearances than actual behavior. Her smile was practiced, warm for some guests, noticeably cooler for others. "Good evening," Maya said, approaching the stand. "I have a reservation under Thompson for 7:30. Jessica's fingers paused over the reservation book, her eyes scanning Maya from head to toe. "Thompson ... she repeated slowly, her tone shifting. "I'm sorry, but I think there's been a mistake. That table is reserved for our VIP guests." Maya's expression remained calm. "Yes, that would be me." "I don't think so," Jessica replied curtly. "The Thompson reservation is for our premium seating. Perhaps you'd be more comfortable in our back section?" Nearby diners began to notice the exchange. An older businessman folded his newspaper, frowning at Jessica's tone. A well-dressed couple at table 12 exchanged uncomfortable glances. Maya tilted her head slightly. "You might want to check your reservation system again." Jessica's jaw tightened. "I know exactly who belongs where in this restaurant. The back section has lovely tables, and frankly, it's more appropriate." The tension thickened. A socialite with perfectly coiffed hair whispered loudly to her companion, "Some people just don't understand boundaries." Jessica seized on the comment, her voice rising slightly. "Exactly. We have standards here, and some people need to respect that." Maya remained composed, her voice steady. "All I'm asking for is the table I reserved and paid for." "Look," Jessica said, stepping closer, her voice dripping with false patience, "I'm trying to be nice here, but you're causing a scene. Just take the table in the back and we can all move on." Have you ever witnessed someone being treated differently based on their appearance? Share your experience in the comments below and hit that subscribe button. Maya's calm demeanor never wavered. "I'm not causing anything. I'm simply requesting what I paid for." Jessica's frustration boiled over. She gestured sharply toward the back of the restaurant. "Fine. If you won't cooperate, I'll have you seated back there whether you like it or not." The businessman stood halfway up. "Excuse me, is there a problem here?" Jessica whirled around. "Sir, please don't interfere. This woman is being difficult about her seating arrangement." "From what I can see," the businessman replied calmly, "you're the one creating difficulties." Jessica's face flushed red. She turned back to Maya, her voice now openly hostile. "I've had enough of this. Either you move to where you belong, or you leave." Maya met her gaze without flinching. I belong wherever I choose to be. The words hung in the air like a challenge. Jessica's anger reached its breaking point. Without warning, she grabbed Maya's arm roughly. I said move. Maya gently but firmly pulled her arm free. Don't touch me. Something in Maya's tone, quiet but absolute, made Jessica hesitate for a split second. But her rage quickly returned. And in a shocking moment of complete loss of control, Jessica raised her hand and slapped Maya across the face. The sound cracked through the restaurant like thunder. Gasps rippled through the dining room. Silverware clinked as hands froze mid-bite. The businessman's face darkened with anger. Even the gossiping socialite looked stunned. Maya slowly straightened, her hand resting calmly at her side. Her expression remained composed, but her eyes carried a weight that made Jessica step back instinctively. You just made the biggest mistake of your life, Maya said quietly, her voice cutting through the silence like a blade. What would you do if you witnessed this? Let us know in the comments. And if this story has you hooked, hit like and subscribe now. Maya looked directly at Jessica, her voice steady and controlled. I've been patient with your behavior, but you've crossed a line that can't be uncrossed. Jessica's bravado faltered slightly, but she quickly recovered. What are you going to do? Call corporate? Good luck with that. Maya didn't answer immediately. Instead, she calmly reached into her purse and pulled out her phone. Her fingers moved deliberately across the screen as she typed a quick message. You have no idea what you've just done, Maya said softly. Setting her phone on the hostess stand, Jessica scoffed. But something in Maya's unwavering calm was beginning to unnerve her. Empty threats don't scare me. From across the restaurant, Tom the sous chef had witnessed the entire exchange. His face had grown pale as recognition dawned. Quietly, he slipped away from the dining room and made a phone call. His voice urgent and hushed. The restaurant fell into an uneasy silence, broken only by the soft classical music and muted conversations. Jessica stood with her arms crossed, trying to project confidence she no longer felt. Maya remained by the hostess stand, her presence somehow commanding the entire room despite her calm demeanor. Then, from the kitchen, hurried footsteps could be heard. The general manager, Robert Chun, burst through the swinging doors, his face flushed and his expression one of barely controlled panic. He stopped short when he saw Maya, his eyes widening in recognition and horror. His gaze quickly shifted to Jessica, then back to Maya as the full scope of the situation became clear. Miss Thompson, he said, his voice tight with anxiety. I had no idea you were here tonight. Jessica's confident expression began to crack as she looked between Robert and Maya, confusion evident on her face. Robert, what's going on? Who is she? Robert's face had gone completely white. He looked at Jessica with a mixture of disbelief and terror. Jessica, this is Maya Thompson. She's the owner of this restaurant. The words hit the dining room like a bomb. Gasps echoed from every table. The socialite's wine glass slipped from her hand, shattering on the floor. The businessman nodded knowingly, as if pieces had finally fallen into place. Jessica staggered backward, her face draining of all color. That can't be right, she stammered. There must be some mistake. Maya stepped forward slightly, her voice calm but carrying unmistakable authority. There's no mistake, Jessica. I'm Maya Thompson, and I own the Golden Terrace. I also own the 3 other restaurants in this chain. The revelation sent shockwaves through the room. Diners pulled out their phones, discreetly recording the unfolding scene. Jessica's mouth opened and closed soundlessly, her earlier arrogance completely evaporated. I came here tonight, Maya continued, her voice steady and clear, to observe how my staff treats customers when they think no one is watching. What I witnessed exceeded my worst expectations. Jessica's hands trembled as the full weight of her actions crashed down on her. Miss Thompson, I didn't know. I'm so sorry. Maya held up a hand, silencing her. You didn't know because you made assumptions based on my appearance. You treated me with disrespect, escalated the situation unnecessarily, and then you physically assaulted me in front of my customers. Robert stepped forward, his professional composure cracking. Miss Thompson, I take full responsibility for this incident. Jessica's behavior is inexcusable, and Robert, Maya said calmly, you're not responsible for Jessica's choices. She made them herself, and now she faced the consequences. Maya turned to address the entire restaurant, her voice carrying to every corner. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for what you've witnessed tonight. This is not the standard of service I expect in my establishment. The dining room erupted in murmurs of support. The businessman called out, You handled that with remarkable grace, Miss Thompson. Others nodded in agreement. Maya looked directly at Jessica, her expression serious, but not cruel. Jessica, your employment here is terminated, effective immediately. Your behavior tonight demonstrated a fundamental lack of respect for our customers and our values. Jessica's face crumpled. Please, Miss Thompson, I made a mistake. I need this job. A mistake, Maya repeated quietly, is forgetting to refill someone's water glass. What you did was deliberate discrimination followed by assault. Those aren't mistakes, they're choices. At that moment, 2 police officers entered the restaurant, having been called by Tom after witnessing the assault. They approached Maya with professional courtesy. Miss Thompson? We received a report of an assault. Maya nodded calmly. Yes. Officer, this employee struck me in front of multiple witnesses. I'd like to press charges. Jessica's breathing quickened as one officer approached her. Ma'am, you're under arrest for assault. You have the right to remain silent. As Jessica was led away in handcuffs, tears streaming down her face, she looked back at Maya one last time. I'm sorry, she whispered. Maya's expression remained impassive. Sorry isn't enough when you've shown someone's true character. Actions have consequences. After Jessica was removed, Maya turned to Robert. I want a full review of our hiring and training procedures. Every employee needs to understand that respect isn't negotiable. She then addressed Tom, who had been watching nervously from the kitchen doorway. Tom, thank you for making that call. Your courage to do the right thing hasn't gone unnoticed. See me tomorrow about a promotion. Tom's face lit up with relief and gratitude. Thank you, Miss Thompson. I just couldn't stand by and watch. Maya turned back to the dining room, her voice warm but firm. To all our guests tonight, your meals are complimentary. I hope you'll give us another chance to show you the level of service you truly deserve. The restaurant erupted in applause. Diners stood, clapping enthusiastically. The businessman raised his water glass in a toast to standing up for what's right. As the evening continued, Maya finally took her seat at the window table she had originally reserved. The view of the city lights was stunning, but her thoughts were on the changes she would implement to ensure this never happened again. Later that week, in a televised interview, Maya sat composed and articulate as the reporter leaned forward. With interest, Miss Thompson, your story has gone viral. Millions have seen how you handled this discrimination. What message do you want to send? Maya's gaze was steady and thoughtful. Dignity isn't determined by someone else's assumptions about you. Respect should be the baseline of every human interaction, not something you have to earn based on how others perceive your worth. The interviewer nodded, clearly moved. What would you say to others who face similar treatment but don't have your platform? Maya's expression softened with understanding. I'd say that your worth isn't diminished by someone else's ignorance. Stand firm in who you are, document what happens, and never accept being treated as less than human. Change often starts with one person refusing to accept the unacceptable. A month later, Maya returned to the Golden Terrace for dinner. She was greeted by Tom, now the assistant manager, whose smile was genuine and warm. "Good evening, Miss Thompson. Your usual table is ready." The atmosphere was transformed. Staff moved with purpose and courtesy, treating every guest with equal respect and professionalism. The changes Maya had implemented were clearly working. As she gazed out at the city lights from her window table, Maya felt a quiet satisfaction. The incident with Jessica had been painful, but it had sparked meaningful change. Sometimes the most important victories weren't about personal vindication. They were about creating a world where everyone could walk through any door and expect to be treated with basic human dignity. Maya smiled, knowing that every policy change, every training session, and every moment of accountability was building something better. True leadership, she reflected, wasn't about having power. It was about using it to ensure others never had to fight for their basic humanity. Do you think Jessica deserved a second chance? Or were the consequences appropriate? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if this story inspired you, hit subscribe and tell us about a time you witnessed someone stand up for what's right.